that rain becoming a little bit more widespread. So Saturday, the better day of the weekend for many of us. Charlie and Naga.
Sarah, thanks very much.
12 minutes past 6 is the time. So if you're a Bond fan, you will know this. There are less than 2 weeks to go until the most eagerly anticipated film release in recent UK history.
It happens that box office takings are down on pre-pandemic levels, and there's a lot of pressure on this one film to make a big difference. So Victoria's at a cinema in North London for us this morning. You've taken a seat. There's a film there, looks like a trailer of a certain James Bond.
It certainly is, yes. There's a lot riding on this gentleman here and on his shoulders to save cinema, really, because it's been a really tough time for the entire industry. So he's got a lot, really, on his plate, as he always does, to be perfectly honest. Good morning to you all. Yes, I'm here in North London at a beautiful cinema that was actually designed by George Coles. It was an Odeon, and it was designed back in the sort of heyday, the golden age of cinema. And George Coles is actually responsible for lots of the amazing Art Deco movie houses that we have right across the country. And this is a really spectacular one here in Muswell Hill in North London. And I wonder whether George Coles would sort of be a little bit shocked by the drama that's been unfolding, really, when it comes to what's been going on in the world of cinema and the world of movies, because the pandemic has dealt quite a major blow to this industry. In fact, even though the cinemas opened up again in July, in the month since September, takings have been under £90 million in cinemas across the entire country. And the biggest grossing film of that time, Free Guy. No, me neither. I haven't heard of it. And that last comment there is actually kind of interesting because, you know, we're talking about everybody talking about Jamie. They're going to be on the show a little bit later on. We're going to be talking about that. But that's almost exclusively a streaming product that's going straight to Amazon Prime. So there is a lot riding on No Time to Die, probably the most apt movie title for the industry right now. Let's bring in the film critic, Anna Smith. Anna, do you think that Bond can save cinema, or is it too late?
It's definitely not too late. I think it's not just down to Bond, but I think that, as you say, there's a lot riding on Bond. This is a film that's going to bring back people that haven't been to the cinema in quite some time, maybe well over a year. These are people, you know, a large range of people, and Bond, of course, is the kind of thing that people want to see on the big screen. It's an experience they want to share with a crowd. They want to laugh, they want to gasp. So I think it's got a lot of power.
It does, but isn't it also part of the problem here? Because, you know, there is this sort of over-reliance almost on these mega blockbusters to the detriment of smaller films in a greater range.
Well, as a film critic, I often do feel quite sad that a lot of people are waiting for these big so-called blockbusters rather than going to see a lot of the great films that have been coming out these past few months. But at the same time, I think it's about a mix, really. I mean, cinemas need the big films and they need the kind of prestige art house titles as well. So it's really about audiences being brave enough to go and watch it all, really.
How much have you missed it as a film critic?
A lot. You know, that audience, kind of that shared experience, that community, I think. And that's something a lot of us have been missing the past year or so. So I think cinema is here to stay, personally.
You might think that, but the box office takings tell a different story. I mean, if cinema does go, what sort of replaces it as a cultural experience that, you know, anyone can go and do? And what happens to these beautiful buildings that we have all across the UK?
I think it's really unlikely that will happen. I mean, we've still got radio and TV coexisting very happily, and I think streaming and TV and sort of film will continue to coexist really happily. So I hope that people will be coming to buildings like this for many years to come.
Well, me too. Thanks very much, Anna. It's really interesting, isn't it? What happens, you know, if these places aren't used, if people don't come? Is it really the same if you're watching it at home? I know, you know, it's easy to do, but, you know, do you get the popcorn? Do you get the nice velvet seats? I tell you what, you certainly don't at my house. So it's kind of interesting. And just ask yourself, when was the last time that you went to the cinema? And what happens if they go? And it's quite a rite of passage as well. I mean, how many people have had their first snog in a building a little bit like this?
I knew you'd take it there. I knew you would take it there, Victoria. Thank you so much. See you later. But it has got everyone thinking about that. That's all. 18 minutes past 6 is the time.
Let's have a look at some of the front pages.